Northampton Saints are a professional rugby union club from Northampton, England. The Northampton Saints were formed in 1880. They play in black, green, and gold colours. They play their home games at Franklin's Gardens, which is a capacity of 13,591. The club won their first major trophy when they defeated Munster in the 1999 Euro 2000 Heineken Cup final. Recent successes involved winning the European Challenge Cup, the 2009 Euro 10 LV Cup, and English Premiership, as well as consistently maintaining a playoff position in the English Premiership. The Saints also reached the final of the 2010 Euro 11 Heineken Cup, the 2011 Euro 12 LV Cup, the 2012-13 English Premiership and 2013 Euro 14 LV Cup. Their biggest rivals are Leicester Tigers. The East Midlands Derby is one of the fiercest rivalries in English rugby union. The Saints posted a club record a £13.34 million turnover for the 2012 Euro 13 season, and a 13th consecutive year of profit up to May 31, 2013. History. Early years. The club was established in 1880 under the original title of Northampton St James by Reverend Samuel Wathenwig, a local clergyman and curate of St James Church who was a resident of the nearby village of Milton Malsa in the house known as Mortimer's. This is how the club got its two nicknames of the Saints or Jimmies. His original concept was to promote order to his younger parish members by creating a youth rugby club, with the philosophy of a hooligan sport designed to turn them into gentlemen. It was not long before Northampton had one of the major rugby union teams in the country. 20 years after its establishment, the first Saints player, local farmer Harry Weston, was awarded an England cap. As the club progressed through the early years of the 20th century, one player dominated this era for the club, Edgar Mobbs. Edgar was a hero throughout the town. He was the first Northampton player to captain his country but is best remembered for his exploits in World War I. After initially being turned down as too old, Edgar raised his own sportsman's battalion, otherwise known as Mobb's Own. Edgar was killed in battle, leading his battalion over the top by kicking a rugby ball into no man's land on July 29, 1917, attacking a machine gun post, and his body was never found. The club arranged the Mobb's memorial match as a tribute. It had been played every year since 1921 between the Barbarians and East Midlands at Franklin's Gardens. In this post-war period the Saints continued to grow, and they started to produce some of the best players in England, some of whom went on to captain their country. They were one of the driving forces in the English game for the next 60 years, producing players such as Butterfield, Jeeps, Longland, White and Jacobs, but hard times were ahead. The club failed to keep pace with movements within the game, and top players were no longer attracted to the Gardens, where a them and us mentality had built up between the players and those in charge of the club. Some former players formed their own task force which swept out the old brigade in the 1988 Saints Revolution and put a plan into action which would put the club back at the top of the English game. Barry Cullis, as director of rugby, set about restructuring the club, and soon the Saints were back on the way up, helped by the signing of All Blacks legend Wayne "Buck" Shelford. In 1990, Northampton Rugby Union Football Club gained promotion to the then First Division, and the following year made their first trip to Twickenham to play Quins in the Pilkington Cup final. They lost in extra time, but the foundations of a good Saints lineup were beginning to show in the following few seasons. Tim Rodber and Ian Hunter forced their way into the England setup, while younger players such as Paul Grayson, Matt Dawson and Nick Beale came through the ranks and would follow the duo into the England senior team. In 1994, Ian McGeechan took over as director of rugby, and although the club were relegated in his first season, they returned in style the next season, winning every single game of their campaign and averaging 50 points a game. This season is referred to by many fans of the club as the demolition tour of Division 2. Professional era. In 1995, rugby union turned professional and the club was taken over by local businessman Keith Burrell. In 1999, Saints came runners-up in the Allied Dunbar Premiership, their league campaign climaxing with a crucial home local derby with eventual winners Leicester Tigers, which they lost 15-22. Ian McGeechan had left the club at the end of the previous season to return to coach Scotland, and was replaced by former Saints player John Steele, who had done well on a limited budget at London Scottish. Steele relied on the foundations laid by McGeechan, as well as the inspirational captaincy of Samoan Pat Lam to lead the club to European success the following season. In 1999 and Euro 2000, the club became a public limited company and shares were issued to the public. In this season the Saints lost in the Titlis Bitter Cup final to Wasps, but beat Munster 9-8 in the European Cup final to win their first major trophy. After a poor start to the 2001-2002 season, former All Black coach Wayne Smith was appointed as head coach. He went on to transform the club in 5 short months. A team who looked down and out in November were moulded into a side that reached the Powergen Cup final and again qualified for the Heineken Cup. Travis Perkins became the club's main sponsor in 2001. In recent times the club narrowly survived relegation from the Premiership, after the then-coach was sacked in the middle of the 2004 Euro 5 season. The coaching role was passed on to the former first teammates Budge Pountney and Paul Grayson to tide the team over. They had a slow start in the 2005 Euro 6 season, but continued to stay mainly unbeaten after the new year. Budge retired at the start of the 2006 Euro 7 season, leaving Grayson in overall control. The Saints would again compete in the 2006 Euro 07 Heineken Cup. They finished second in their pool, behind Biarritz Olympique, the runners-up from the previous season. Northampton qualified for the quarter-finals and actually met Biarritz in Spain. Despite being in last place of the English League at the time, they defeated the French champions 7-Euro 6 to advance to the semi-finals. Relegation. On April 28, 2007, despite a 27-Euro 22 victory over London Irish at Franklin's Gardens, Northampton were relegated from the English Premiership. A behind-the-scenes restructure led to the brief appointment of Peter Sloane as head coach, from the role of forwards coach. Paul Grayson became the skills and backs coach. England Saxons coach Jim Mallender became the new head coach and director of rugby, with his assistant Dorian West also following as assistant coach. Peter Sloane has since left the club. On March 22, 2008, Northampton beat Exeter Chiefs to ensure their promotion and a return to the Guinness Premiership. On April 12, 2008, Northampton beat Exeter Chiefs 24-Euro 13 at Twickenham Stadium to win the EDF Energy Trophy. On April 26, 2008 they ended their National Division 1 season undefeated with 30 wins from 30 games. Return to Premiership. In the 2008 Euro 09 season, the Saints finished 8th on the table and only losing 1 game at home to Newcastle Falcons. They also lifted the European Challenge Cup, defeating French side Bourgogne 15-Euro 3 in the final on May 22, 2009 at the Stoop in London. The victory gave them a place in the 2009 Euro 10 Heineken Cup. In March 2010, the Saints won the LV Cup final against Gloucester Rugby 30-Euro 24, gaining them their 4th piece of silverware in 3 years, and a place in the following season's Heineken Cup. They also finished second in the English Premiership, losing to Saracens 19-Euro 21 in the semi-final played at Franklin's Gardens, and progressed as far as the quarter-finals of the Heineken Cup, losing to Munster at Thomond Park, Limerick. At the start of the new 2010-11 English Premiership, questions had been raised about the size of the squad. However, Saints started the season with a 6-game winning streak. They finished 4th in the English Premiership, losing to Leicester in the semi-final. Saints also went undefeated into the final of the Heineken Cup, where they were beaten by Leinster 33-Euro 22, at the Millennium Stadium after a second-half collapse. At the beginning of the 2011 December season, with 9 players out for the 2011 Rugby World Cup in New Zealand, Saints struggled to find form at the beginning of the season. They were knocked out of the 2011 Euro 12 Heineken Cup in Stadium MK against a youthful Munster team. However, when the international players returned, Saints began to move up the table. England picked 8 Saints players out of a squad of 32 to represent England, meaning that over a quarter of the England team were Saints, a new club record for the number of players selected for a single England squad. 2 Saints were also picked for England Saxons. Nevertheless, in 2011 December, the Saints still reached a third successive Aviva Premiership semi-final and a second LV Cup final in 3 seasons. 2012-13 was a roller coaster of a season. After winning their first 5 matches, the Saints were pulled back into the pack both in the Aviva Premiership and exited both the LV Cup and Heineken Cup, despite ending Ulster's 4-year unbeaten home European record just before Christmas 2012. At a couple of points the team slipped to 6th in the Aviva Premiership table, but the team rallied and secured 4th place in the league. A stunning win at Saracens followed, which put the Saints in their first ever Aviva Premiership final. The 2013 English Premiership final at Twickenham was a battle between Leicester Tigers and Northampton Saints, which Saints lost 37-17. The 2013 season finished with 7 players being taken to Argentina as part of the England squad, including Tom Wood as captain. The 2013-14 season proved to be successful for Northampton Saints, finishing second in the league with 78 points. They also beat Bath 16-30 to win the 2013 Euro-14 European Challenge Cup, and then beat Saracens 20-24 in the Premiership final to win the 2013-14 English Premiership. One of the standout players for the Saints in 2013 Euro-14 was American international Zami Manua, who was voted Saints Supporters Player of the Year and was on the 6-man shortlist for a PA Players Player of the Year award. Stadium, Franklin's Gardens. Northampton Saints have played at Franklin's Gardens since 1880, when the club was born. Franklin's Gardens is a purpose-built rugby stadium near the town centre. It is about 1,250 m from the railway station and about 2,000 m from the bus station. The stadium holds 13,591 people. The stadium also has 40 corporate boxes. Each can hold from 8 to 24 people. The 4 stands are, Tiddler's Stand, Burrada South Stand, Churches Stand, and Strathridge Pavilion. It is also a multifunctional conference centre as well as the only Aviva Premiership ground with its own cenotaph. In 2009, the Saints board announced they would be applying to increase capacity to 17,000 with the redevelopment of the North Stand. It was intended this would be funded by a £40 million investment by supermarket chain Asda, who would build a new store on the land currently used as training pitches. A political battle ensued with the local council, which later came to be seen as an attempt by the board to wrest public funding and public land for their commercial objectives. The club has since secured funding through alternate means, a loan thought to be in the region of £5 million through Northampton Borough Council, and with planning permission rubber-stamped, building will commence in the summer of 2015. The stand, which will take the name of the Burrell family, is due to be completed in time for the start of the 2015-16 season and will take the capacity at Franklin's Gardens up to 15,500. Northampton Saints had an unbeaten home record that stretched from March 2007 to March 2009, much of this record was set during the Saints' 2007-08 promotion from the ERFU Championship. During the 2008-09 English Premiership regular season the Saints only lost at Franklin's Gardens on one occasion, to the Newcastle Falcons. The average attendance at the Gardens this season is 13,428. Heineken Cup matches. The club played a 2011 Heineken Cup quarter-final match against Ulster at Stadium, MK in Milton Keynes, because Franklin's Gardens is too small to meet the minimum 15,000 seats demanded by the European Rugby Cup tournament organisers. The Saints won the match, beating Ulster 23-13. The subsequent semi-final against Perpignan was also played at Stadium, MK for the same reason, with the Saints winning 23-7. The Saints had previously indicated that they might play future major games at Stadium, MK as their proposal to expand Franklin's Gardens using an enabling development was experiencing difficulties because of conflict with national planning policy. Kit. In 2008, After being promoted from the Championship to the Premiership, Saints changed from Cougar to Rhino. After 2 years with Rhino, and coming second in the table, Saints switched again to BURRDA, a Swiss sports apparel company. Northampton have signed a 4-year deal with BURRDA, which have brought back the old-fashioned ring but with a modern twist for the home shirt and the away shirt with its black and gold ring with a peppermint light green background. Players. Current squad, 2014-15 Note, flags indicate national union as has been defined under IRB eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-IRB nationality. Academy squad, Note, flags indicate national union as has been defined under IRB eligibility rules. Players may hold more than one non-IRB nationality. Coaching staff, first team, Jim Mallender, a Euro Director of Rugby, Dorian West, a Euro Forwards coach, Alex King, a Euro Attack Kicking coach, Alan Dickens, a Euro Assistant coach. Academy, Alan Dickens, a Euro Academy Manager, Dusty Hare, a Euro Academy Recruitment and Development Manager, Mark Hotley, a Euro Academy Coach, Ross Stewart, a Euro Elite Player Development Group Manager. Notable former players, Hall of Fame. The history of Northampton Saints is one filled with illustrious names. To recognise and honour its best players, the club established its Hall of Fame in 2004. To date 12 players have been inducted. Captains, Club Honours, Aviva Premiership, Champions, 2013 a Euro 14, Runners-up, 2012 a Euro 13. National Division 1, Champions, 2007 a Euro 08. Anglo-Welsh Cup, Winners, 2009 a Euro 10, Runners-up, 2011 a Euro 12, 2013 a Euro 14. EDF Energy Trophy, Winners, 2007 a Euro 08. Heineken Cup, Winners, 1999 a Euro 2000, Runners-up, 2010 a Euro 11. European Challenge Cup, Winners, 2008 a Euro 09, 2013 a Euro 14. Guinness A-League, Winners, 2008 a Euro 09. Middlesex Sevens, Winners, 2002 a Euro 03. Statistics, overall stats, most points in a match 96, most tries in a match 14, most conversions in a match 13, most penalty goals in a match 7, most drop goals in a match 2. Season summary, see also, English Premiership, Heineken Cup, LV = Cup, European Challenge Cup, Franklin's Gardens. References. External links, official site, BBC page, fan site, Northampton Chronicle and Echo, I.